If you were born pre-2000s, you probably remember these things. VHS tapes. Your memories of these tapes may have included watching your favorite TV series, sporting event, or most importantly, those home movies of your family and friends recorded back in the day. But the thing is, our memories, our history, who we were as a people are still recorded on those tapes. What do we do with them? Well, if nothing is done, we run the risk that those memories will degrade until the content is no longer viable. While the technology to play these tapes back is no longer being produced, it's not too late to make those 20th century recordings available for 21st century viewing. Whether you were elected or you volunteered to convert your home movies to DVD, congratulations! You've taken the first step to preserving your memories for years to come. Unfortunately though, just having a spare VCR in the attic isn't going to cut it anymore. You see, as the years go by, the chances that your tapes succumb to degradation increases. The material the tapes are made up of weren't designed to last forever after all. Therefore, it's important to make sure these treasured moments properly get transferred to modern storage mediums, such as a DVD or a backed up digital file. That's where this video comes in. I'm going to show you various ways you can take the content on those tapes and bring them to the digital age. Let's get started. But first, some things to note. This video will be focusing only on magnetic videotape technology conversions, such as VHS, mini DV, 8mm, etc. Reel-to-reel film solutions will not be covered in this video. Do not expect the conversion of your analog tape to DVD or digital to make your low-resolution content suddenly appear HD-like. Overall, it's still going to look like VHS quality. The conversion process just ensures future compatibility and keeps your videos from looking any worse with age. Let's focus on PC-free solutions first. The easiest way to convert your tapes to DVD or digital is to simply let someone else do the work for you. There are companies out there that specialize in converting analog video sources to DVD and digital. A simple internet search of VHS to DVD services will give you instant access to companies whose business revolves around converting tapes and film to be played back on modern equipment. However, you don't want to just employ the first company that pops up on your Google search. Take some time to do the research on a company you're thinking of handing over your precious home movies to. Not all companies use the same equipment or workflows, which could result in less than stellar conversions. If you're looking for more nationally known chains to handle your tapes, retail chains such as Walmart and Walgreens have partnerships with media conversion companies such as Yes Video and iMemories respectively. These companies offer not only VHS to DVD conversions, but cloud and digital storage solutions as well. As far as pricing goes, it depends on the number of tapes you're wanting to convert and how much footage is on each tape. Also, the final delivery format will be an indicator too, whether it be to DVD, thumb drive, or a cloud-based solution. The pricing seems to be based on its standard 2-hour footage limit per tape. Note, prices may vary depending on when you place an order and any sales or promotions that may be running at the time of order. For example, at the time of filming, if you go through Walmart, the charge is $15.96 for the first 30 minutes. Additional 30-minute increments will cost you $7.46, so assuming you're wanting to convert a standard 2-hour tape, you'll be paying $38.34 for just the conversion part. Adding that footage to one DVD will cost you an additional $3.96 per disc, which will ultimately end up costing you $42.30 minus tax. However, if you choose to go with a digital copy, you'll save yourself the DVD fee and you'll get free access to your content for 60 days in Yes Video's Memory Cloud service. This service allows for sharing via Google Photos and downloading your video to view on your PC, tablet, and smartphone device. Walgreens offers similar solutions with prices starting at $24.99 for a 2-hour conversion, then an additional $9.99 to be burned to DVD. Note, this is an estimated price and the final price will be revealed once the tapes have been transferred to disk. However, if you go with the cloud-based option, you can view your content on the iMemories cloud service for 30 days for free, as well as download your content for offline viewing. There is also an option to have your content burned to a Blu-ray. Keep in mind though, if your content is VHS footage or sub-HD quality, I wouldn't recommend going with this option because it's overkill and probably wouldn't benefit your viewing experience quality-wise compared with cheaper DVD discs. For this video, I decided to go with Walmart's Yes Video solution because of the option for 30-minute captures, which is perfect for the test VHS I made using dubbed footage from my Sony HXR NX70U camcorder using Yes Video, which should give slightly better image quality when dubbing to tape compared to composite. This tape was made to test over the various VHS to DVD solutions we'll be experimenting with in this video. As far as my ordering process goes, I simply filled out the form on the DVDWalmart.com website, printed out a confirmation sheet, then took said sheet to my local Walmart photo lab. From there they sent the tape on to Yes Video's headquarters, and within 2 weeks I had my tape back. When looking over my order, I did notice that an additional 30-minute charge had been added to my order, even though I specified the pay by 30-minute pricing option. As far as the DVD package itself, it's nothing to write home about, but it gets the job done. A simple thin case to house the DVD, with a paper cover consisting of screenshots taken over various portions of the tape, represents a nice collage of what to expect from the DVD itself. Upon first opening the case, you're greeted to a noticeable Walmart logo, with the Yes Video logo on the left side and a generic DVD label on the right. Finally, the name on your disc is located at the bottom with a barcode used for tracking. For these types of projects, how a product is packaged isn't as important as how the product looks when viewed on a screen. Let's take a look. My first thought when looking at the video itself was, wow, this video has an awful stair-step effect and some pixelation going on here. I was looking at the dock in this first shot. Notice what's supposed to be a solid edge on this dock is a stair-step mess. My guess was some kind of deinterlacing method took place here. For this explanation, there are two types of video, interlaced and progressive. Your tapes that were recorded back in the day were recorded by two separate lines, or fields of video, being recorded at two different points in time. Interlaced. It's a means of reducing broadcast bandwidth while still displaying an image that looks like a full, complete frame to the human eye. While your phone and most cameras used today shoot video as a full, complete image for each frame. Progressive. The camera you used back in the day to shoot your home movies and the CRT television set you used to watch those tapes were both designed to handle interlaced footage, which is why you see what appears to be a solid image, because it was designed to display the video that way. When flat-screen TVs came along, manufacturers added hardware that would deinterlace the video, or make it progressive, so the interlaced lines wouldn't be as noticeable on your new flat-screen TV. However, if you're watching interlaced footage on a computer monitor, you may see these weird lines when something in the footage moves. That's because computer monitors aren't equipped to natively handle the deinterlacing process on the fly like your modern TV. If the last few minutes didn't make any sense, don't worry, I'm still scratching my head over aspects of it too. Getting back to the Yes Video DVD, according to media info, the DVD footage is interlaced, which is what I would expect. However, when viewing the footage, the stair-step effect, along with the fact that I'm not seeing interlaced lines when viewing the footage from a computer monitor, leads me to believe that some form of deinterlacing took place. Deinterlacing is when an interlaced source has had the separate fields of video blended in a way to get rid of those pestering lines popping up. But when deinterlacing is introduced, it can cause the quality of the video to be reduced as well. Getting to the point, from what I've seen and some research, it looks like the form of deinterlacing used was a method that removes or discards one of the fields of video and scales the other field up to make up for the missing video. This video here is the digital version of the tape submitted to Yes Video. Notice how it looks fine here, but when I turn on the discard deinterlace feature in VLC, it suddenly looks very similar to the DVD video. My hope is that this is some kind of technical error, but I find it hard to believe that that's the case since I would imagine they would have to follow a strict workflow in order to make sure their work is consistent. When it comes to videotape conversions, your DVD shouldn't come back looking worse than the original tape you had to start with. As I said previously, your order will come with a downloadable digital file as well. This version can be used to easily share with family and friends on social media, or just to have as a digital backup. The quality of the file is much better compared to the Yes Video DVD, however the file is still interlaced, so you may want to deinterlace it before uploading to social media. Here's a side-by-side comparison of what the Yes Video DVD versus the digital file looks like. Overall, if you're fine with a digital file, then this may be a viable option, but I wouldn't rely on Yes Video for a quality DVD backup. As far as other companies, I can't really say how their workflow goes, but I'd imagine it would be similar to Yes Video's. You'll have to do your own research on that. Now, if you'd rather have a hands-on approach with the conversion process, you can always convert the tapes yourself. It just requires basic knowledge of the VCR, DVD recorder, and possibly a PC, depending on which route you take, while also being able to track down the equipment. To get started, you'll need a working tape deck, such as a VCR, to actually play back your tapes. If you don't happen to have one you've put away in storage somewhere, my first suggestion for finding one would be your local thrift store. In my thrifting experience, VCRs and DVD players are pretty common items. Pricing will depend on store and region, but I usually notice them going for around $10. A couple of things to remember if you choose to buy via thrift store. Most importantly, make sure it works. Thrift stores usually have a space available where you can plug items in. If the unit you're looking at is getting power, see if they'll let you play a tape in it. If you find that it's taking the tape, not spitting it out or chewing up the tape, then it's probably safe to buy, and further testing can be done at home. Oh, and also go and buy a couple of VHS tapes of various quality too. They're usually dirt cheap and can help when testing out the unit at home. If possible, try and find the remote that goes with the unit. It is rare to actually find the remote, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't look. Your video port options are also something to consider. but I'll get to that later. Also, when buying old units like these, check to see if there's a return policy, just in case the unit ends up failing soon after you get it home. Once you get home with the unit, start testing it out with those test tapes you bought. You want to make sure the unit is displaying a stable picture to your TV. If you notice the picture isn't playing right, you may have to adjust some tracking settings or even clean the VHS heads with isopropyl alcohol. If you can't seem to find one in your local thrift store, there's always a plethora of them on eBay. However, you'll most likely be paying more than you would in a thrift store, but you'll definitely have more options and it might possibly be in better condition. Now that you have your VCR unit, you'll need a DVD recorder. While DVD isn't dead yet, retailers seem to be dedicating less and less space for the aging format, and while you might be able to find an inexpensive DVD player for around $30, finding a DVD recorder in that same store is going to be a bit of a challenge. With DVRs and streaming services dominating viewing habits, the need for a DVD recorder is becoming scarcer with each day. However, this shouldn't discourage you from trying to find a decent DVD recorder. My first recommendation on where to look for one would be, well, your local thrift store. Like I said before, they're good for both VCRs and DVD players. My recommendation would be killing two birds with one stone and finding a VCR DVD recorder combo unit if possible. Now remember, this is important. Make sure the DVD unit says DVD recorder somewhere on the machine. If you can't find it, assume it won't record DVDs. The good thing is, thrift stores don't usually mark up DVD recorders any more than the cost of a normal DVD player. If you can't find a combo unit, a separate VCR and DVD recorder will still get the job done, albeit a few extra cables. While each manufacturer's VCR DVD recorder combo unit will vary a bit from one another, the general rules should be similar enough to follow along with most units. When using a combo unit to transfer your VHS tape to DVD, start by connecting the unit to your TV. Chances are your combo unit will only connect via analog ports such as composite, S-video, or component. There are some VCR DVD recorder units that can connect to your modern TV via HDMI, but most likely your unit is only going to have analog ports. So if you're connecting your VCR DVD recorder unit to your modern flat screen TV, unless you know for sure your unit can play VHS content via HDMI, try using a TV that still has analog inputs. Most still do, but that's no guarantee. With the unit connected to the TV, you'll be able to confirm a picture is showing and follow the instructions to begin the dubbing process. Start by inserting a blank DVD in your DVD recorder unit. As far as which type of blank DVD to use, you should be fine with either DVD plus R or minus R or even RW, if for some reason you want to re-record over your dub footage. Most units seem to be able to handle the variety just fine, but it doesn't hurt to check the unit and see if a particular blank DVD type is needed. Once the disc is inserted, the unit will begin loading the disc. Once the blank DVD has been loaded, you'll want to set the record mode. This could range from 1 hour to 6 hours recording time. Keep in mind, the higher in length you go, the lower in quality your footage may end up looking. Unless you have less than an hour of footage to record, it's probably best to go with SP or a 2-hour increment, since this does appear to be the standard recording length for tapes. Once you have the desired length of recording time for your DVD, it's time to put your tape inside the VCR. Once you have the tape queued up for where you want to begin, look for some kind of dubbing button. This will allow the unit to take over and start dubbing your tape to DVD. If you can't locate the dubbing button, try to find a manual online that shows where to find the dubbing feature. All VCR DVD recorder combo units should have this feature somewhere. When the time you've allocated is ran up, the unit will stop recording and will begin writing the data it is collected from your tape and burn it to DVD. Once the writing process is done, you should be allowed to do some slight tinkering with the presentation of the content, such as naming the videos recorded and adding chapters and such. After that, you'd think it would be ready for sharing with family and friends. Well, not quite. You see, there's a final process called finalization. Finalization basically preps the DVD to be played back in any DVD player. Without finalizing your DVD, you risk your content not being able to be played back in any other DVD player. Each recording unit will have its own way to set up the finalization, but a good start would be to look in the owner's manual. If you don't have a manual, Google your brand new recorder and model number. Chances are you could still find a PDF on the company's website. For this Magnavox recording unit, eject and reload the disc. As the disc is loading, press Setup and wait for the grayed out Disc Edit option to light up. Once you have access to the Disc Edit features, navigate to the Finalize option. Select Yes, and the unit will begin finalizing your disc. After the finalization process is completed, you should be able to play your disc on any device that accepts DVDs. So what if you can't find a VCR DVD recorder combo unit, but you happen to have a separate VCR and DVD recorder? Well, not to worry, because with a few more steps you too can have your VHS tape playable on DVD. To get started, plug in your VCR, then run your yellow RCA composite video and red and white audio cables from the output portion of your VCR to the input section of your DVD recorder. You can usually find one set of input ports on the front of the unit. Something to note here, when dealing with VCRs, you're most likely to run into the standard yellow composite RCA ports. However, there are some VCR units known as Super VHS VCRs or SVHS VCRs that were designed to play back a newer version of VHS tape with superior specs known as SVHS. While these Super VHS tapes never replace the original VHS, their playback units are considered a better method of transferring VHS to DVD than a regular VCR, due to their hardware and cabling options such as the addition of an S-video port. Without going into much detail, with S-video, the luminance and chrominance part of the video signal is split, resulting in a better signal than composite, which has both parts of the signal crammed into one channel. If you happen to find a working VCR that has S-video capabilities, go for it. But don't go out of your way to find one, because in the end, it may not make much of a difference for a tape that was probably originally dubbed a VHS using composite anyway. An important note here, when using cables for capturing content, try to use cables that have quality about their build. Cheap cables can often come with shortcuts taken to reduce manufacturing costs and thus provide poor signal quality. A lot of times when buying player units, you still get those cheap composite RCA cables included in the box. Try not to use those for your tape captures. If you need to purchase new cables, look for cables that have proper shielding to help keep signal interference with other devices in your home to a minimum. So you've got all your cables hooked up, now let's tell the DVD recorder which input channel to look for. Since we connected our cables to input 2, we're going to tell the unit to look for a signal coming from input 2. Assuming everything is working, we should see the video signal coming from the VCR playing through the DVD recorder. Once you have the duration mode you want to capture in, insert a blank DVD into the drive. Let the disc load, start up your tape, and hit record on your DVD recorder remote. Once you're done recording, simply press stop on the remote and allow the data to be burned to the disc. After the writing process is finished, you should be allowed to do some basic customization and finalize the DVD. PSA timeout. Have you ever watched a VHS tape and noticed the VCR unit displays the words play, hi-fi, or video calibration? Well, this is because the VCR unit is set to display that on-screen display, or OSD, upon playback. It usually goes away after a few seconds, but if you're able to access the menu on the VCR, see if there is a way to turn off the display of text when playing back tapes. This will ensure a cleaner capture. So those were some PC-free ways to allow you to take those old analog tapes and bring them to the digital age. But what if you're comfortable using a PC? Let's take a look. Note, keep in mind the product I'm about to show you is not one I would actually recommend. However, for this video, it will work in demonstrating how you would go about using a USB analog to digital video converter. This is the Roxio Easy VHS to DVD 3 Plus. The product is designed to allow your VCR or camera to connect to your computer via USB through either standard composite or S-video. These generally get all the power and signal throughput needed with a simple USB 2.0 port, so no need to worry about which outlet you're going to plug it into. Along with the hardware, you'll get an included DVD which has a software needed to control the device. First, let's install the included software. If your machine doesn't have a DVD drive, you can easily download the software via Roxio's website under Support, Software Updates. After starting up the installer, just follow the instructions and agree to the license agreement, and you should be good to go. Once the software is installed, you can launch the application and start your video capture project. You have the option to create an audio or video project. Since this video is about analog video conversion, we'll create a video project. Make sure your capture device is connected to the computer and your VCR is connected to the device. Once everything is connected, you should see whatever image your VCR generates when a tape isn't playing. For a lot of VCRs, a blue screen is generated. As for preferences, there's not too many to choose from. There's the ability to check for updates on startup, audio normalization, which should keep the audio at a consistent level, and the ability to fade in and out to black. The last option allows you to store the captured video where you want on your computer. Under the video name section, you'll see you'll have the ability to control how long the video capture device records video for. This helps if you know how long your tape is. You can just set it for the amount of time you need and come back when the time has lapsed. There's also this option, stop at the end of tape, which I'm kinda confused about because given the function's name, it's supposed to stop recording at the end of the tape. But how does the device know when the end of the tape is? You see, after the tape has ran its course, the VCR's blue signal generator will kick on, and as far as the video capture device is concerned, that's just more video to capture. Same concern about the ignore gaps option. The device itself doesn't talk to the video input, which in this case is the VCR. so it can't tell when the tape is actually over. This may be for VCR units that don't have a blue background generator and just stops capturing when the signal is lost. I'm not sure. Either way, I wouldn't put too much faith in this option. The options below are for control over the recording level of the audio and for which aspect ratio you want your tape to be captured in. I'm pretty much always going to recommend going with the 4:3 option. 16:9 will just stretch the video and make the subject you're watching appear stretched too. Now it's time to name your footage. I'm going with park footage spring for this video. For this test capture, I'll set the recording time for 1 minute, hit the record button, then press play on my VCR. If you see your video playing and a recording wheel circling, then congratulations, your video is capturing. After the set duration time is up, or after you press the stop recording button, the device will stop capturing and you can begin reviewing and editing your video. You'll probably want to cut the useless material at the beginning and end of the video. With this trim tool, you can do just that. Using the left and right arrow keys, you can even trim up to the frame you want. You can also add a title if you like, along with Roxio's enhancements. But I use that term loosely because as someone who works in TV production, these tools are not ideal for improving video quality. First off, we have denoise. This applies a slight blur to hide the noise artifacts that can pop up in home video recordings. However, the trade-off is you lose detail on what is already low quality video with little detail to begin with. Next we have stabilize. This feature is supposed to help with the shakiness of the camera. Since this video is shot on a tripod, stabilization in this video will do very little. When you stabilize a video, you usually have to cut off video information to give the frame room to work with when smoothing out the footage. Lastly, we have color correction. You have basic features you control such as brightness, contrast, color saturation, etc. I'm not saying you can't fix a shot's color with these tools, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I would simply skip these tools because they could ultimately end up doing more harm than good to your footage. So you've got your video trimmed up and ready to go to final output. You have some options here. You can burn your footage to a DVD by using the DVD option. You can make a more custom DVD with a few more features with Roxio's My DVD option, or you can export a digital video file for digital platforms and social media. Earlier I mentioned that this product was not something that I would recommend, and here are my reasons why. Issue number 1. While capturing footage, I noticed that on some shots, this green streak would show up on the upper part of the footage. I played back the tape on a TV to be sure it wasn't my VCR, and I didn't notice the green streak on TV playback, so I'm assuming this is a result of the video signal being tampered with by the capture device. Next, the video looks pixelated when viewing through the capture window. The final video file doesn't appear to have the pixelation, but it certainly was a concern for me when first capturing. This is probably to help from overtaxing the capture device's resources though. Keep in mind, the entire thing is being powered via USB 2.0. My biggest concern though is the software. While the software itself is easy to use, the version I'm using is broken. I'm running version 401B89A, which has a problem when it comes to opening projects. You see, if you trim the video you captured, save your project as you're leaving the application, then try to go back into that project, you simply get an error and you have to crash out of the program. For my test, it only seems to happen when trimming a file, but this still should have been addressed and updated by now. For the sake of this video, I've tried contacting support, but their support staff didn't leave me with any confidence. Ultimately, there are a lot of devices out there to claim to convert your analog tapes to digital. I can't review them all, nor can I claim they're all as frustrating to use as this Roxio Easy VHS to DVD 3 Plus. But if you decide to go with a product like this, take the time to do some research and find out what others are saying about it. Keep in mind too, a lot of capture devices have forgone including DVD burning software in favor of simply exporting a digital file. So if you decide to go with an analog capture solution, you may have to find some DVD authoring software as well. So let's review the 3 different ways this video discussed for beginners to take their home VHS tapes and convert them to DVD or digital. You can pay a company to convert your tapes and provide a DVD or digital file for you. The pros would be, it's great for if you have large collections and don't have the time, equipment, or technical knowledge to convert the tapes yourself. Cons: quality may not line up to the quality of the actual VHS tape. If possible, try and find a local business that has had experience with tape conversions. It can get expensive. Depending on when you decide to convert your tapes and what sales a company may have at the time, you'll probably be doing some investing to have your whole collection converted. So cost is definitely a factor worth considering. You can use secondhand equipment like VCR DVD recorder units that's designed to dub VHS to DVD. Pros: you have unlimited tape conversions, with blank DVD supply being your only limit. Instant access to your content once the dubbing process is complete. No waiting for delivery of content. Cons: tracking down functioning equipment secondhand. Yes, there are thrift stores and online stores, but due to these decks not being in high demand anymore, production has pretty much ceased for now. So once the supply is gone, it's gone. Might have to do some DIY cleaning of internal components for clean video. These VCR decks have moving components inside that can wear down over time, so maintenance will be something to consider. Figuring out the dubbing process with cables, menus, settings, etc. If you're familiar with home electronics, it should be pretty easy, but you need to know your limits when it comes to technology. Less control over how the final product looks. Ultimately, how it plays on VHS is how it's going to play on the disc. Using a video capture device to capture VHS and burn a DVD. Pros? Video capture devices are readily available and can be easily found in electronic stores and online. They can be used to make both digital files and DVDs with additional software. With being able to make a digital file first, you can have a version that's ready to be sent to family and friends via social media and still be able to have a physical copy that can be played on your TV. More control of video encoding options. You can set the quality parameters on your video capture to allow you control of the final quality of the video. Word of advice, always go with the highest quality. Modern computers have enough storage to handle compressed MP4 files pretty easily. Cons? Requires understanding of computer hardware and software. You have to know how to use the capture device's included software as well as DVD authoring software to burn a playable DVD. Depending on the kind of capture device you get, the included software may be buggy and unreliable. Requires a DVD burner for burning video to DVD. DVD burners are becoming scarcer with newer computer models due to their continuing obsolescence in the marketplace, but external and internal drives are still being made, so that option is still viable. The methods for video conversion talked about in this video are just a starting point. There are certainly more methods out there that involve broadcast equipment and larger data storage methods that most consumer PCs aren't readily equipped with. But for this video, I just wanted to share with you some tools to get you started. How you choose to go about converting your video should be determined by your budget and your skill set. Also, when converting your tapes, use the original source the material was shot on. For example, if your content was shot on an 8mm tape and eventually dubbed to VHS, use the 8mm version. That way you're ensuring the highest quality possible from the source. Oh, one more thing. If you do get your tapes converted, don't throw out the original tapes. You always want to have the original source around in case a better capture method comes along in the future. Plus, you just want the backup copy should something happen to your DVD or digital file. Those have a habit of failing too. I hope this video has been a help, and if you're someone who's already gone through the video conversion process, let us know how it went in the comments section below. Until next time, thank you for watching.